we're going to go to futures here on edgeful. A lot of new features are coming from edgeful over the next few weeks, so just stay tuned here because I'm going to show you those features as soon as they drop. Here, if we look at gap ups here, standard on ES over the last 6 months, gap ups fill 67% of the time. But if we look at it by size and we measure the gap up here today, which is 0.86%, it's a pretty large gap up. They only fill 29% of the time. So it is not likely that we see this gap fill today, which makes me feel that we might be a little bullish today. That's going to set me up to think that if we can break the opening range to the downside and then come back in, I could look for longs using the opening range low area as my stop loss to trade towards the top of the opening range. That's the first trade idea that this gap fill stat gives me. We can kind of go deeper than that too. If we look at my favorites, let's look at the opening range breakout stats and just make sure we understand 70% of the time we double break the opening range. So knowing that I have a long bias, if we can break the bottom of the range first, that tells me 70% of the time we could go break the top. So that sets up that long trade even more. The thing about that trade is it takes a lot of patience. You've got to be able to wait for the break out of the bottom of the range, that low to set. You got to wait for it to come back into the range, and then you've got to trust that low as your stop loss to trade to the top of the range.